Well, Jimmy, thanks for spending time with Holding Court. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you. When looking back at your career, what are you most proud of?
Everything, all of it. I think from the very beginning and coming in, looking back, I wanted to be a tennis player. I wanted to be a tennis pro. I wanted to come out and play the U.S. Open and play Wimbledon. And then you get a little older, then you want to win them, and then your career takes off. And I think the way that I went about it from the very beginning, when I first came in, and being prepared to try to go out and play against the best in the world, and being taught, I thought, the right way. And then just going out and trying to take what I had learned, and take it to the next level and be as good as I could be. And I think the one thing, Justin, is when I walked out onto the court, I was prepared every single time and gave it everything I had, and never let 1 inch go by without trying as hard as I could. And I think that's probably what I'm the most proud of, to be honest with you, is that never at any time was I unprepared and willing to let anything go. And for as long as I played, I'm paying the price for it now, don't get me wrong, but it was worth it, worth every minute of it.
Well, you said that you were brought up and taught the right way. It'd be impossible to segue into that without discussing your mother, who you just had an incredible relationship with.
Well, she gave it to me. I mean, everything I have was because of her, in life and in tennis for sure. And tennis has given me my life. So, there's never, you can't repay that debt ever. But she gave me everything. She taught me how to play the game, and it certainly gave me the attitude that I had from the very beginning. She gave me who I was. She didn't give me who I became. That was all me. And I also made her blush a few times along the way, which was all part of it. But what she gave me, and then with the understanding and the genius to know that she had taken me far enough and was able to hand me over to somebody else, which was Pancho Segura. That to me was the genius of my mother. That she realized what she had given me, and that she couldn't give me. She gave me a game. She gave me a ladies' game, which was a very easy game to play. It was a straight back, straightforward, straight through game that was, given to a guy, to play a men's game, by a woman, which is kind of confusing. But on the other hand, it's a game that's lasted, for a long time. But she realized just what it meant for me to go and to have an education by a man also, and where that would take me beyond just my tennis, but more mentally and understanding the game to a different level.
So then what did Pancho Segura add to the process?
Well, he added everything. He added the rest of my life, to be honest with you. And I went to him when I was young, 15, 16 years old, and his son Spencer was playing tennis, and we became best friends right away, almost brothers. And that I fit right in. I hope that they considered me as a part of their family as I did them a part of mine. But it was beyond tennis what Pancho gave me. The tennis was. I hung on his every word. Anything he said, or Bobby Riggs said, or Pancho Gonzalez would say, I'd be taking notes. I'd follow him around, into the steam bath, and he'd be talking. I'd be taking notes on a napkin, But he gave me more life too, of what tennis was like, before and after the matches, leading up to the matches, how to handle the matches, how to handle after the matches. More went on into my education than just learning how to hit forehands and backhands, and that's an education that you can't buy. School was important, and unfortunately not that important to me, but the education that I got along the way in life, from the people that I was around, you can't buy that.
So Segura was a coach, a mentor, and listening to you, it sounds like a father figure
Sure.
as well.
Yeah, very much so. Very, very much so. And I left home, it's no secret, when I was young. And like I said, it was my mom's genius that allowed that to happen. And, not that I didn't see my family, I did. But once I moved out, my dreams were more than that. My dreams were, I moved to LA. LA had a lot to offer, and that's where I wanted to stay. And then to travel around the world and to try to be a great tennis player and to win the major tournaments. That was all part of what I was chasing, even at a young age. Now, I might have been just a dream also, and so the work ethic was something that I had to really fight for. because I was kind of thrown into a completely different way of life when I moved to LA, with Spencer and my relationship with him and his friends and what they had to offer, and was all things that could have taken my mind away from tennis. Though I enjoyed them very much, don't get me wrong, but tennis was still my main reason to be there.
Well, it seems like there's a similarity between yourself and Pancho, and a little bit of Angelo Dundee and Muhammad Ali, and also because you brought that kind of boxing mentality to tennis. Do you see and feel those similarities?
Well, tennis is to me boxing at 90 paces, and it's one-on-one, and it's more than just throwing blows. There's a lot more goes into it, and it's how you take those blows along the way too that that build your character, and also build what you can do when you're under the stress and under the gun to come through and perform. My grandfather was a boxer. And he trained me as a boxer, just like he did when he was in his youth, and so my youth was around that mentality also, but from Pancho's side, I mean his mentoring, the reason my mom turned me over to him was because both of them were friends first of all, but they both were able to get the maximum out of me without me even knowing it, and I think that was more the key to my career than anything.
60 years of age, and you are still in incredible shape. What are some of the tips to remaining young?
Well, don't think you're old. I think that's the one thing. I am 60. There's no secret about it. The outside has held up pretty well, Justin. The inside maybe not so good, but that's okay, because I knew when I got into tennis that there would be after effects. I knew that. But so you go and you play the way you do and give it the effort the way you do, and think that you're bulletproof at the time. And when it's time to quit and you have time to sit down and realize that, oh, this hurts and that hurts, and was it all worth it? And I just got to look to you and say it was worth every second of it, and I'd do it again if I could.
In a way, do you wear the physical ailments as almost a badge of honor?
It is a badge of honor. Of course it is. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to know that this gray hair is from this match, and this ache in my knee is from this, and it's all worth it. It was all worth it, and that's the passion. I've got that passion for tennis. It's been my life forever, and it's in my blood. And you can't just say, okay, I'm retiring, and all of a sudden that goes away. It's impossible. It's in there forever, and in anything you do. But for tennis, what my feeling for tennis and what it's given me, and what it's allowed me to do, and I mean, I've played in front of presidents and royalty and the fans here at the U.S. Open, which is probably my favorite. Don't get me wrong, but it's given me my whole life, and that's the one thing that my wife said to my mother before she passed. She goes, you've given us everything, and that's an outsider. My wife didn't know much about tennis when we first met, but for her to say that to my mother, it's true. I mean, tennis has allowed me to live this kind of life, and there's no repaying for that.
What player do you most identify with right now?
Oh, Nadal for sure. But I'm telling you what, this little guy, the little battler I call him now.
David Ferrer. You didn't even say his name, but I knew who you were talking about. In my opinion, David Ferrer stands for everything that's great about sports and tennis, similar to the way you do and did, and similar to Nadal.
I call him, and I say battler, because I mean, he doesn't care. He doesn't care how big they are. He doesn't care how hard they serve, how hard they hit the ball. He goes about his business, and he gets the maximum out of his game that he can. And he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he's maybe not the fastest, but when he's out there, he is. And to me, watching him play, I don't care if he wins or loses. I'll tune into him because you're going to get your money's worth.
The heart's the biggest muscle in the body.
Yeah, and you get your money's worth. That's what these people want to see. They want to see a kid like that out there leaving his skin on that court. And when he walks off of there and he can walk back, he's the kind of kid that'll look back and say, I got nothing more to give. I've given everything, because he's going to have scrapes and scars and everything. And man, he's fun to watch.
But with Rafa being a lefty, showing the same type of passion, I mean, you must have a sense of kinship with him.
Well, I do, because his attitude. I mean, he'll never, and Ferrer's the same way. I mean, they'll never let a ball pass. And I think that if you're in the good enough shape and you can stand up and face that and give it that every time, that's what people remember long after you're gone. They remember the days that you weren't good enough, but you gave it everything you had and you figured out a way to win. And that's what the people expect from you. I mean, they're paying big money to come and watch these matches nowadays, Justin. Yep. And they could take that money and go see a basketball game, a football game, whatever. But they're coming to watch guys run around on a tennis court. That's an honor. Yep. You know, and the players should look at it like that. And it's a privilege to play the game and an honor to play in front of the fans. And if they look at it like that, things might change a bit.
Has the sport become too pristine?
Well,
I mean, it was pristine with the Aussies, and then you guys kind of took it over and brought that rough and tumble, showed your personality, wore your hearts and your emotions on your sleeve, and now it's become, you know, pretty stoic and pretty clean cut. Do you wish it was more like during your era?
Well, I got to be careful because if I say something,
that's the great part about us. You don't have to be careful with me.
People are going to think that if I make a comment that I'm jealous or, you know, I'm not around playing for the big money or something like that. I'm an outsider now looking in, and I know what I would like to see as a fan, as a tennis fan, as a sports fan, and for me, all the guys play great tennis. They do. They all play the kind of tennis. It's a one-way game now. It's a power game. They all play it beautifully. They all get the maximum out of it. But, you know, what does it hurt to look up to those fans who are paying big money to come and watch you play, to bring them down on the court with you and allow them to be a part of it and to get to know you as an individual too, not just as a guy running around playing tennis, but as an individual while you're playing. Doesn't hurt that. All that's going to do is create more interest in once there's more interest, then the game grows bigger. Can it get any bigger? I mean, compared to where it was 30, 35, 40 years ago, this is tremendous. You know, and this is what I fought for. You know, prize money in the game, 25,000 seat stadiums. That was my view in my own eye. Well, once I got into the game, you know, I wasn't satisfied with playing in a local gym where there was 1,500 seats and my winner's check was $1,200. I said, that's unacceptable. I want more, and look where it's gone. But if they're not careful, you don't want to run those people away because it's the fans that come and enjoy it and are a part of it that are going to make it grow even bigger. So I would take care of them if possible.
Let's go through your success at the U.S. Open. 5 U.S. Open tournament wins. What do you remember about your success in New York at the U.S. Open and all the different venues?
Well, I came here as a young kid, and I played here in I think '69. I played in the qualifying, and I think I played got in my first main draw in 1970, and so I've been around for a while. When the Laver was the greatest, Pancho Gonzalez was the greatest. You know, Arthur Ashe was was winning, and Stan Smith, and Ilie Nastase. So I played from the generation before, through to where I finished in the '90s, and I think my favorite moments were, I was able to play at Forest Hills, and with all the tradition and everything that had to offer. It was a totally different feel. It was a small little clubhouse, and guys, you walk down for the spiral stairs from the clubhouse, and you were able to jump off the little patio onto the grass courts. The pristine grass courts. Just it was a beautiful walk to the stadium, and just it was just a different feel. It went from grass to clay, and I was able to play it on clay, and which I thought was a big mistake once they went to clay. I mean, we got American players who are great fast court players, and all of a sudden it goes to clay to favor the South Americans and some Europeans. I thought that was a mistake. But then when it came over here to Flushing Meadows, and the concrete jungle and what this had to offer for me, it was a totally different feel. It was a feel of more than just tennis. It was a feel of New Yorkers wanting to see, football, baseball, basketball, but on a different level. And the way they got involved in it, and the way the fans took this site to heart and supported the event, that to me was the best thing that happened in the United States for sure. I'm going to venture out and say maybe the world, because a lot at that time, how tennis went in the United States is how it went worldwide, with the players and everything. So I might be stepping on my own toes here by saying that, but I'm going to say that when this venue was built and we played here in 1978, completely changed the game.
Jim, when we think about your amazing runs at all your wins at the U.S. Open, we think about the last run to the semis, but you described the shot against Panatta in '78 as the best shot of your career.
You look at that, Justin, and it's a 1 in a million. I'd come from down in the fifth set, and And it just goes to show what adrenaline and attitude does for you. You know, there comes a point in time where you think nothing can get by you. And basically, I was outstretched and you know, running to my backhand side. I normally want to hit that with two hands, and could barely get to it. And I'm not that strong just with one hand, but I just kind of flicked it, and it went around the net. It almost hit the net judge at the time, was sitting there close, and almost hit him, and went around the net and fell on the line. Now, you know, if I had to try to play that again, it would never happen. But you know, in a match like that, that shot won me the U.S. Open. You know, I was able to come back to beat Adriano. I was in the fourth round, and you know, got on a roll and was able to beat Bjorn in the finals. But it's shots like that, a little luck like that. Listen, sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good. And at that point, I was very lucky, and you know, but I got to take it because I had enough bad luck too.
Yeah, we'll talk about some bad luck in '74. How much resentment do you have to the establishment that possibly could have stayed in the way and prevented you from winning the Grand Slam that year?
Well, isn't the little asterisk by my name even better?
Should be.
Yeah. But isn't it even better that you even talk about that?
Yeah.
Still, I mean, how long ago was that? It's almost, what, 40 years ago?
Yep.
And you know, to still talk about that. Now, you know, whether I would have won it, I don't know.
Would you have?
Who knows? You know.
In your heart, do you believe you would have?
I mean, I was playing some pretty good tennis at the time, and you know, I beat Bjorn a couple times on clay after that in the States, and the clay in Europe is different, of course, and Roland Garros is different, but it would have been fun to have the opportunity to do it. And you know, I won Australia, and once you win Australia, you're the only one that can win the Grand Slam. So it would have been fun to have known one way or the other if I would have gotten through Wimbledon and into the U.S. Open, if I had to put the pressure on me to win the U.S. Open to win the Grand Slam. But do I have any resentment? I don't have any resentment. You know, that's so long ago I can barely remember, except you're still bringing it up, which is even better. But it's just interesting that, you know, how politics, you know, enter into
sports,
you know, sports, and which is really not what we're out there for. We're out there to pit my game and what I can offer against you and what you have to offer, and let the best guy come off the winner, and then go play tomorrow. But politics is, you know, sometimes interferes, and what can you do?
What's your most satisfying win on the court?
Oh man, you know, it's I've played so many good matches over my career, and you know, I look at some that I lost that were pretty satisfying too. I mean, I lost to Mac one year here, 7-6 in the fifth, in a match that you know, could have gone either way, and I was down and came back. He was down and came back, and we ended up going to 6-all in the fifth. And he ends up winning. But you know, the idea is that, you know, I look back on that and I don't have one regret. You know, I gave it everything I had. I left everything out there, and you know, you can't win them all. You know, as much as I'd like to say, you know, you can, you just can't. And the other guy's trying to do the same thing to you as I was to him. So it's all fine and good. But you know, I came back from a match in Wimbledon against Michael Pernfors, and everybody had written me off. I think it's not a match really that defines my career, Justin, as much as time spans, where I was the best and had a roller coaster ride in careers, and how years and spans of years would identify with my ups and downs, and trying to reinvent myself, and to come back and to work harder, and you know, add some things to my game and tweak some things in my game to try to make them better. To me, that's what is really defined my career. Not one match, but all the matches, because I learned from the wins and I learned from the losses, but I also understood that, you know, once I quit work, and tennis is a 365-day-a-year job. Once I would quit working, I couldn't do it. You know, it would have passed me by. So my work ethic was probably the best part of it all.